All right, let's talk Jose Mourinho. He's been speaking to Rio Ferdinand on his 5 YouTube channel. Jose Mourinho has sensationally revealed he rejected the chance to manage England.
I could be that coach in the national team. Also yours.
Imagine, we would have won something. If you was the coach, we would have won something.
I had it there on the table.
No way.
Yeah?
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Why did you sign? Why did you say no?
Because I'm still there a little bit. I didn't because I had always the national team job as something that I wouldn't enjoy.
Oh, this is
and
amazing.
so Chelsea was 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8. Was 7, 8? I think was when Mr. Capello got the job.
You can watch the full interview, by the way, and it is a really, really good sit-down interview between Jose Mourinho and Rio Ferdinand. It's on Rio Ferdinand's 5 YouTube channel. In terms of the timeline there, Rory, I think Jose said in that interview as well that he was talking after Sven and before Fabio Capello, so it would have been him. And by the way, I mean, Fabio Capello at the time, I mean, there would be a lot of young listeners now thinking Mourinho 100% over Capello, but Capello at the time was still considered one of the best managers in Europe, like really, really high. But surely Mourinho, with that golden generation team that we always talk about that didn't win anything, surely Mourinho would have got them over the line.
Yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful team, and Jose Mourinho in that era. I think it's fair to say, you know, when you compare managers, say you try and compare the best ever Premier League managers. I think I would certainly say Sir Alex Ferguson is the best. I would then say Pep Guardiola is second, Jose Mourinho third, Arsene Wenger would probably be next, then Jurgen Klopp. But say you were to compare, rather than comparing the full legacy, the full duration of their time in the club,
periods.
just their best. Just if you were to pick the best manager to have ever operated in the Premier League, just pick. So is it maybe Ferguson?
Treble.
Ferguson 1999 or Ferguson 08? That era of Ferguson, that was a wonderful team he built. Pep Guardiola probably now. Arsene Wenger, maybe the Invincible side, or even the 98 side that won the double. If you were to pick those years, I think Jose Mourinho, even if you brought in Porto, Jose Mourinho 03 to 07 was arguably the best manager of all of them.
No.
He arguably certainly was. I think Jose Mourinho 03 to 07 is as good as anything that Guardiola is doing now.
As good as. So you just change it now. You can't just do that. You've gone backwards a bit there. I mean, you can't just say he's the best, then as good as. I think you should have said as good as first.
I think that what Jose Mourinho did with that Porto side and then what he did with the Inter side is better than anything Pep Guardiola has ever achieved in football. Taking Porto to the European Cup, think about the sides that they beat along the way. They beat Manchester United along the way.
I won't argue that.
Taking Inter Milan in 2010 to a treble. It was sublime. So if you were to say, is Jose Mourinho the best manager in the Premier League ever, you'd probably say no because of the longevity. But in terms of his peak years,
I think it was fantastic.
I think he's right up there.
I think he was fantastic.
And if he were to have been given the keys to England, if you were to think about the squad that England had available then, like, you know, when people were constantly saying, you know, Gerrard and Lampard, 2 of the best players in the world, you know, both finished second and third to Ronaldinho winning the Ballon d'Or, second Frank Lampard, third Steven Gerrard. Everybody was saying they can't play together. It's impossible for Gerrard and Lampard to play together. No manager could get this working. Well, hang on a minute. The best manager in the world, arguably at the time, Jose Mourinho, truly believed that it could work because he broke his neck on multiple occasions to bring Steven Gerrard to Chelsea, to link up Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard. So he clearly believed that it could work. It was just the managers that, given the opportunity, couldn't make it tick.
What I would love to have seen him do isn't just the Lampard-Gerrard thing, and you are correct with that. Obviously, look, Gerrard was very, very close to going to Chelsea. It's Scholes as well. I'd love to have seen how he would have got those 3 midfielders working.
And he would have done as well.
Of course he would have.
He would have had Michael Carrick involved, I think.
Of course he would have.
He would have had Michael Carrick involved. Yeah, he would have had Carrick involved. He would have. If you think about how Chelsea set up when we were brilliant, you know, whether it was sort of Lampard, Makelele, Thiago, obviously Michael Essien came in. I think England would have done something similar to that. And England would have won silverware under Jose Mourinho. If you've got to remember what England were doing around 08. We had McLaren in. We didn't even qualify. We got battered at Wembley by Croatia. Luka Modric pulling the strings.
The Wally with the...
Broly. Yeah.
Go.
I mean, look, if Mourinho was England manager, we would have won silverware. Rio Ferdinand is absolutely right on that front.
Especially with the players that we had. Where is Mourinho now? I know you've got a love for him because you keep reminiscing of times gone by. But where is he now as a manager? Sacked by Roma. Is he still... Would you have him at Chelsea? Is he still one of the top managers in world football?
He's obviously still one of the best managers in the world. That's not even a controversial thing. I don't understand how people can't process that. You know, when people go maybe sitting behind their computer screens or writing articles or sitting on radio stations like this, they go, he's finished. Like, what are you talking about? How can a man be that brilliant? He's not old, by the way. He's only 60. Mm-hmm. How can a man be that brilliant that recently? You know, it wasn't that long ago that he was winning European silverware with Roma. You remember the second season, they then got to the final of the Europa League. They were a penalty kick away from winning their second European trophy in a row and qualifying for the Champions League for the first time in their history for 6 years. He's clearly still totally capable, and I find the argument that he isn't just infuriating. You know, people go, well, he's been sacked from his last 4 jobs. You're like, yeah, okay, he has been sacked from his last 4 jobs, but let's analyse that. Let's employ a little bit of critical thinking and look beyond the headline. Been sacked from his last 4 jobs. He's won silverware at every single one of those clubs, apart from Tottenham, where they sacked him before he had the opportunity to compete in a League Cup final. A League Cup final, by the way, that they put Ryan Mason in charge of. He only lost the game 1-0. Imagine what Mourinho would have done in that final. I'm not saying they win it, but they might, and his track record suggests that they would. So, yeah, he's been sacked from his last 4 jobs, but he has won silverware at his last 4 jobs. And when you think about how desperate certain clubs are for silverware, like Tottenham have won 2 League Cups since 1991. Everton haven't won any silverware since 1995. As a Newcastle, you're looking at the best part of... You're not far off going on for a century. And Jose Mourinho wins silverware so recently at Roma, and people go, he's finished. By the way, can I just ask you a bit of trivia?
Go ahead.
Jose Mourinho won silverware at Roma. Your international silverware, European silverware.
Yeah.
Who was the last manager to win Italian international silverware, Italian European silverware, prior to Mourinho winning it at Roma?
Sven.
It was Mourinho. It was Mourinho 2010 and Mourinho again. Right? So, that's how good he is. He left Inter. He left Inter after
Where'd
that
you get
treble.
that stat from? That's a great stat.
It's up here, mate. Down here for dancing.
No chance.
Right? He's left Inter, come away from Italian football. Over a decade later, all of the managers that have been employed by Italian clubs have all had a go at European silverware. None of them have won. He comes back, wins, bang. Then, the following season, bang, again. It's very important to acknowledge this as well. Don't try and cut me off, because this is a Mourinho thing. And I'm very passionate on this.
Wearing your Mourinho boxers
I've got
today.
very, very passionate on this. There's one thing that people don't seem to acknowledge as well about being sacked by Roma. Yes, he was sacked by Roma, but there was a change in the political climate of Italy that meant that he was going to be sacked. Almost irrespective of whether he was doing well or whether he wasn't doing well.
You can't just jump in and say that. The fans were clearly not happy with
They
the
were
style of
heartbroken.
football.
There was a sign. Saw the sign.
Nonsense.
We'll always
you
have
saw
Tirana.
one sign.
There will always have
There
Tirana.
was one sign. The rest of the fans weren't happy with the style of football.
We will always have Tirana. That is a sign that I saw.
I'm a big Mourinho fan. To go back to the question I initially asked you, would you have him back at Chelsea?
This very second, I would get Mauricio Pochettino out of the job this very second and drop Jose Mourinho in there. I'll tell you what happens if Mourinho were Chelsea manager. As things stand, Mauricio Pochettino gets battered by Klopp at Wembley. Fact. You bring Jose Mourinho in, all of a sudden Chelsea win the League Cup. Simple as that. Simple as that.
I don't think it's that simple. By the
Simple
way,
as that.
Klopp's no scrub.
Jose Mourinho, Chelsea manager for that League Cup final.
He's a bigger threat, obviously, because we know what he can do in finals. But as you just said yourself, he lost the Europa League final by a penalty kick, so he's not guaranteed. It doesn't guarantee you the trophy.
He guaranteed Chelsea the trophy if we played Liverpool in a final. He's done it before. He did it in Cardiff. Steven Gerrard's own goal and all that.
All right. That aside, because he's not going to get the Chelsea job, and I don't think they're going to revisit that again. Where do you think he lands? There was a lot of talk about him going to Saudi. Obviously, he's not doing that. No, I agree.
I know
he's
where,
not doing that. Where do you think he goes?
It feels to me that it would be Isn't
it just inevitable? Can we say it on 3?
Right.
1, 2, Newcastle. Yeah.
I think the Bobby Robson
We've worked
thing,
with each other too long.
the Bobby Robson thing, the money at the club, the desperation of the club to win some silverware. Yeah, I think it is Mourinho. By the way, I've just seen a text.
That text
Have you seen a text
message?
True.
That text is just come true. It can't be true.
It is true because across all the clubs.
Jose Mourinho went 9 years undefeated at home. You didn't leave your name. I'd have read your name out. Don't want to read your number out.
It's a great text. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Look, Jose Mourinho being sacked by Roma really does cloud the issue. It isn't true. I think her name's Giorgia Meloni. She changed the ruling in Serie A, which meant that it was very difficult for financial reasons for Serie A clubs to employ expensive managers. All right, very quickly, 10 seconds on this. No long. England manager next. Jose Mourinho, please. Okay, cool. There you go. In fact, when you say next, I mean before the tournament in the summer, please. Before Germany. Silly.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.